Hello.
You jerk.
I got Talia with a jump
I
scare.
wish I could have seen her.
Wake up.
That woke me up.
Welcome,
I'm
everybody, to
sleepy.
Literarily Wasted, second live discussion of October. Talia's heart is beating fast.
Oh, do Ashley's.
You're so bad.
We are here to discuss the entirety, now that we have all completed Edgar Cantero's The Supernatural Enhancements. But before we do, Talia, who's here today?
Everybody except for Adam.
I'm here.
Adam, just get the
Does that
song.
hurt?
Hi, Giggles and Tammy, Monica, Kira, Jen, Natalie, Dan, and Sever.
Oh, man.
Sorry,
I'm still shaking, okay? Adam ruined my night. Hi, Rachel and Jennifer, Brandy and Leanna, Natalie, Carrie and Nikki. Hi, Jody and Adrian, Stacy and Henry and Lee and Tim, Jake. Hi, Willa and Kelly and Brandy and Ashley and Judy and Kira and Julie and Carrie, Ashley, Adrian, Stacy, Jennifer, Leanne, Kira, Willa, Martin, Missy, and Adrian.
This is the first time I've ever heard the name.
And Ed. Who's
Until
here
the
until
plane
the plane
takes
takes
off.
off.
It's the first time I've
Nice.
ever heard the name Tim as like 6 syllables. So, okay. So
Sever. So sorry.
everybody's here. And now it's time. It's time to talk about this book that we've all read for spooky month of October. Happy Halloween early, everybody.
It's Halloweenish.
It's Halloween-ish.
It's
Okay.
Halloweenish.
Yeah, see, the more you comment, the more she'll say your name in the intro.
Yeah. Okay. My brain doesn't have time to be like, did I say this person's name already? So if you comment a lot, it's going to be like, hi, Kira and Kira and Kira and Kira, because that's just what's going to happen. So sorry.
Okay, why aren't we in costume?
This is my costume. I dressed up as a functional
This is
human
the
being.
first year that we weren't in costume.
I
Look
am,
how
I am
all
in
of y'all-
costume.
Whatever.
I'm wearing my-
I'm on theme.
I'm wearing my mustache. That is part of my Halloween costume.
This is true.
I've got this sleek and sexy robe,
I got
Um,
spooky earrings.
and
That's my
uh,
contribution.
it's
There.
soft and it's
Ooh.
also very spooky. My spooky robe,
Your fingers
they
are
say.
spooky.
I didn't even
spooky
think about
fingers.
dressing up.
I did. That's why I'm wearing these jammies.
Ashley, that would be a costume for me too.
That's what I said.
Um,
Oh my God,
okay,
no one
let's talk
listens to
about the
me.
book.
The book.
We don't do any recaps.
Thanks, Kira.
for
They're
now.
jammies.
It's just the end. It's just we finished this book. We read all the way to the end.
We read the whole thing.
Things happened. Holy crap, they
They
happened.
sure did.
They did not. Okay, I'll just go
Yeah, you
since
should
I'm
probably
rambling.
start.
Wow. Okay. My gosh, this book. I've got some beefs. I've got some beefs with this book.
Beef.
Love beef, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Got some beefs with this book. This book. So second half. I like the first half better. I'm just gonna say that up front. I like the first half better. Reminder: be ready to start a live video at 7:30. Thanks, Facebook.
Sorry.
I like the first half better. The second half just so we got to a point where we got just a big old exposition dump from Caleb for he was just like, let me just tell you everything. Let's do away with all this like mystery and suspense and pretense and all this stuff. Let's just dump out the end. So we got that, and then it turned into like a massacre rapey action movie out of nowhere, and the dog died, which I'm not happy about. The TV just turned off by itself. That's a little terrifying.
Fine.
And but that it so you know the issues with it aside, I still think it took me for a ride, and I'm like Leanne says, I'm glad we had the exposition dump. It was needed. It was like nothing and then like where's everything. It would have been nice if we had a little bit more pacing. What we can get into the nitty gritty about what sort of issues I had with it. Overall, I'm glad we read this. It was an interesting experience as sort of this like found footage style book. It's the first time I ever read anything like that. lots of different mediums, lots of different ways to sort of present the story, and the concept itself I thought was really fascinating. Like the whole concept of this group, this society that like found these things that like gives you pictures of these 20 people, and then you try to find them like every year. That's like the fun. That sounds like a cool thing.
That's a really cool concept.
So I like the concept.
For rich bored people to do.
But it just went in. Yeah, this Ashley summed it up better in like less words. This next.
Okay. I agree. The first half was stronger than the second half, but I really like this book. I like the whole book, and I have some criticisms, of course, but this was just such a fun read. It's kind of funny. I was reading, and I read right before bed, like in bed, and I was getting to a stopping point, and it's like my time to stop and go to sleep. And that's when the massacre started. And so then I accidentally finished the book instead of sleeping. And I did not do that, or don't usually do that. And I didn't intend to do that, but I could not put it down once we got to that point. But it was just great. I really liked it. I did a lot of like Googling to find things to talk about today, because I always try to like get some interesting stuff. And there is, if anybody's interested, there's a Q&A on Reddit with the author that is pretty fascinating. Also, the author is awesome about answering questions on Goodreads if they're unanswered for a long time. So bringing a bunch of stuff from all of that today. But I liked it, and I loved the visions and the whole, the quest part of it. I wish we had gotten more of that. Like I could do a whole book on just that stuff. That stuff's so fascinating to me, and especially like the one guy who ended up being murdered by the guy he was hunting down. Like I don't know, it just was great. I thought the exposition made me almost fall asleep. It almost got me like. My eyes were going crossed during it. It was rough. But I loved it. I think this was a great book. I'm glad we read it.
I've definitely never read anything formatted like this. Sorry, I jumped right in.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
I've never read anything formatted like this, so I am very glad that I've read it. I enjoyed a lot of parts of it. Didn't enjoy other parts. Obviously, anything that had to do with the dog, which I will talk more about later. I told Christy a little thing, but the ending was so jarringly different for me that I was kind of confused. Also, I'm hearing myself. Do you hear me?
We only hear you once.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
It'll make your cadence more fun. You'll be like, I think, and then
Anyways, so yeah, it just at the end kind of seemed like really out for me, and then it does kind of annoy me sometimes. This is just like a personal thing of like when you get like these big major, like multiple major reveals in like a 2.5 page epilogue, like kind of conveniently smooshed in at the end. But overall, like, and here, like reading in y'all's comments that I guess this was his first book, and it's so unique. Like it did make me want to read Meddling Kids, which I feel like is a big deal because I don't like to read scary things, but I do find this author very, very interesting. And I'd love to read something else by him. And Meddling Kids was actually a poll option. I don't know that it was last Halloween, but the Halloween before, maybe
in the poll before.
Yeah. So yeah, like I thought it was just the exposition dump. Agree with both Lee and Christy. It was necessary. I wanted the information, but it was a slog to get through. But I do kind of like that he not like made a nod to that. He even made was like, and oh nope, I've stopped listening to him because he's still talking. Oh my god, it's going on forever. Okay, wait, that part. What did you say again? So I don't know. I liked that there was humor in it. Yeah, a lot of things like that I was like, but overall, really, really glad that I read it. So unique and different from anything else that I've read. You killed the dog though, man. Like
Yeah,
negative
come on.
3,000 points, whatever.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I think I really liked it overall until the very end. I love the treasure hunt. Like I love finding secrets and uncovering. Yes,
No, I'm doing an A, so I remember to say something when you're done. I'm sorry, I forgot.
that's weird. Okay.
Because it has to do with A.
No, so I love like the National Treasure, all that stuff. Like give me cryptic hidden things and secret keys and I will eat it up all day long. And really up until the point like I was interested in like the whole society and how they came together and why they were coming together, and it was really fascinating. And it was kind of like up until the John Wick ending moments that it kind of threw me, and I was like, what happened here? And so when you parse out the book, it kind of goes all over the place in genres almost too. It's like, is this a ghost story? Is it a mystery? Is it an action? Is it, I don't know. But he did have a great reference with a rubber chicken with a pulley in the middle, and that kind of made the book for me. So if you get that, you're in good company with me.
How you know the secret to Lucas?
Okay, so the A thing that I forgot was because I've said this. I feel like I say this all the time. Is like, just give me the friggin' answers. I want all the answers. I think the reason, because there's so many things unanswered in this book, so many things that we will never know. But it doesn't actually bug me that much. Would I love to know? Absolutely. I want to know all the answers, but it's not driving me crazy. And I think it's because it was like an intentional way too many things left unanswered. Like, since the way that we got the story was such a mystery anyways, like there was no way that we were actually going to ever be able to get all of these answers, just because the way the story was given to us was so unique that didn't bug me. And it did remind me just a little bit more of like Shirley Jackson's stories, not putting them in the same league, but I'm just saying Shirley Jackson loved to give the reader basically like, right, what do you think happened? Or how do you think this actually, like that whole mystery element of it. But
An interesting note on the exposition. I read the author really regrets not putting a little asterisk right in front of where he went into the deep dive on explaining all of the coding or the codes and ciphering and stuff. And the asterisk would say, you can skip this part if you really don't want to read it. Because it's...
I
glazed over.
I just went.
He felt it was important to include it just because it was what the character was going through. And if he just like Eureka'd it after 3 days and we didn't see it and didn't know why, then he felt it would be cheap. So he felt he had to include it, but he really wished he had put that little asterisk there.
Speaking of Eureka moments, he did have a Eureka moment.
Oh yeah, he actually said Eureka, didn't he?
No,
he had an epiphany.
He had an epiphany
at the very end.
At the end, which.
What was the epiphany?
So here's we can just dive into some stuff that I'm just okay. So when I woke up this morning and talked to Christy about it, I was like, okay, I think this live discussion is going to be the smarter people in the comment section explaining things to me. Because like there's just some things I don't know. I didn't understand. I'm seeing people in the comments saying like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I didn't understand. And we can jump around or we can try to make it more structured. I don't know. But so he had the epiphany. Kristen, we're gonna get to this.
Oh yeah, I got it.
We've got it.
I got it.
So but he had this epiphany at the end, which then I guess allowed him to drain the blood from his own body while pouring cold water onto himself. And then he bled out. And then he basically convinced the ghost to save Neve from being raped by the mercenary man. And then he lived.
Yeah.
But what was his revelation? What was this?
Okay, so go ahead, Talia.
Oh no, you have the answer.
Maybe.
You do.
I think I think he realized that he needed to be close to death to be able to communicate with the ghost effectively, especially where he was in the house. And then we had all the foreshadowing conversations at the dinner, right? Where someone had like been in really cold water and it allowed them to survive longer because it kept all their organs and stuff, whatever. And so I think those two things he kind of realized he had to do in a combination to be able to both save her, communicate with the ghost, and survive.
Are y'all talking about like when he said found?
No,
Because for me, it was like that was two different moments.
when he was handcuffed in the basement and he had the epiphany, and then he like broke.
He did say found though.
Did he? Oh, I have no
Yeah. Okay.
idea.
So for
I don't
me,
know.
this was two different things. Like, and this is just how my brain interpreted it. So one is like, yes, him trying to talk to the ghost, which was, I thought it was, okay, I'm going to pull the pipe down and flood the basement because where does the ghost like to be? The bathtub, the bathroom. She's always in the bathtub. So I thought he was trying to turn the basement into the bathtub. She always shows up when there's running water. They talk about how Wells died, but like right before he died, he saw her in the bathtub. So I thought that's what he was doing, was turning the basement into the bathtub. And then, yes, he said, you see a ghost right before you die. So that's why he was doing that. I thought him saying found was a separate moment because he had just smashed the crystal and like was looking around at all the things in his hand. And he has this weird moment where he's like, found. I thought that was a reference to the next 20 because they had already seen like touch the ball and had the moment where they see all the things. And it seemed to me like he was like, oh, this moment was one of the next 20. But I don't know. That's just what that just gives them.
Yeah, but then the question is, okay.
Okay, but according to the author, A was not ever one of the 20. But he might be in the future.
So, okay. Other things.
It's mostly dead.
So the ghost ended up being, to me, a bit of misdirection. Like a big deal was made out of the ghost in the first half of the book.
Oh, huge misdirection. And I kind of loved that.
Well,
I mean, it was called the Supernatural Enhancements. It's not called the Haunted House or the Ghost Story. And even on the cover, like it's just called the Supernatural Enhancements. And it's all about, you get the 20, you get their numbers, and then you get all the names, like the things. So I mean, and the dog. Oh.
yeah. I just, like I just thought the ghost was going to be more. I don't know. I'm it's just it seemed like we forgot about the ghost for a long time.
I mean, it's not even on the back of the book.
It just turned out that like this ghost was one of the 20 a while back, and they decided let's find this ghost, and then set up shop here at this house. Was that it? Is that it with the ghost?
Yeah, the ghost wasn't a huge part of the story, but
then
we
the
thought
ghost,
it was going to be.
The ghost saved the day, ironically, because Neve was supposed to be his protector, and she did not do that, except for the pool thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was smart.
Well, smart thing. And then okay, you go. We'll just.
No. What were you going to say?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, one of the things you were complaining about to me was the found footage.
Okay. So, this book was told via sort of found footage style, found documents and recordings and things like that. But then I feel like he kind of, like the farther the book went, the looser it got. Did anybody else feel that way? Like the looser the sort of formatting and some of, it still said like video recording and A's diary and whatever, but like it just became more novel like.
Well, in the first half of the book, I had a problem with how his diary was not like a diary. It was absolutely like
just writing
a narration. Yeah.
But I think the worst parts for me in terms of format and structure were the video recording, like the handheld video recording that was like in all italics, because it was like so like flowery or like so subjective and like embellished that I had a hard time following it. Did anybody else have a
I had
hard
a hard
time?
time
Like,
following it too. But at
I
the
skimmed
same
over
time,
those parts.
I do like. I had a hard time following it, and I also didn't find it interesting. But what I did appreciate was that it was stylistically very different from each thing. So we get, all these different, there's the video recordings, the audio recordings, the dream journals, like all these different ways that we're getting the information. And at least this one was very, very different. Nothing else was stylistically like it. So I can appreciate that, even if I didn't really enjoy reading those parts.
I mean, the writing style is interesting, and I commend him for being able to write in like, especially so many different styles in one book. But like, just for my own ability to comprehend the events happening in front of this camera, like, does it? Also, who wrote that?
The camera did.
Ah.
It was yes. It was an
I mean, are we just
very
meant?
a very educated camera.
Are we just meant to think that like we're watching the videos? That I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like who found what, and I agree with Martin. I think it would have been a better movie, probably.
And here's the thing about, I said this morning. Sorry.
That's probably what I was about to
Here's
say.
the thing about found footage styled things in general. Is like going all the way back to like Blair Witch Project. If you've got a found footage movie or whatever, like you assume that the reason we're going through this is because the people died. Like there's nobody left to tell the story. I'm like, this is what's going on in my head. Like the whole time I'm reading this book is like, oh, we're like sorting through something that happened. We're looking back into the past and something happened. These people aren't around to tell the story. And then it turns out they're all just alive in the end. I don't know. That kind of disappointed me.
Dan, I can't tell are you serious about the camera being the ghost? And if you are, I would like to read more information about what led you to believe that.
Yeah, I would like to know more about that too. But yeah, that was just
justify your argument.
my
please.
issue with the found footage format is that like there's usually a reason why we're like, we're going through this footage is because these people didn't return or whatever. But
I like Kira's comment about how
this one?
Yeah. How there should have been more missing parts because we were missing the first page. And then after that, I mean, sure, it jumped like a week every once in a while, but it felt really intentional. I feel like it could have been cool.
I forgot about that
missing sections.
Yeah, we
Totally
never got the
forgot
first
about that.
page.
Because we were all like, ooh, what if the last page is the first page?
It was not.
Um,
The last page was like, here's a random curveball that nobody asked for.
yeah, I just don't know why we're going through all this material if like these people are just around to tell the story. And like, who's going through this? Who are we? Who are we? What?
Did anybody else picture Caleb Ford as as what's Superman's name again?
Clark Kent?
No.
Kal-El?
No. The Christy hot guy. What's his name?
Henry Cavill?
Yes, him in Stardust.
Never seen Stardust.
He's in Stardust?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the bad guy. He's the
He's
douchey.
not the bad guy.
Well, he's the boyfriend.
He's
the suitor.
I stole your girl, but
He's
I'm
the
gay guy.
Yeah.
Him. Anyways, well, if you've seen Stardust, that's who I pictured Caleb.
Mr. Steele.
I need to rewatch Stardust.
It's a good movie.
So I love
It's been a
that
really,
movie.
really long time.
It's
Solid.
a fun one.
So something I think everybody had a problem
Hi,
with
Joe.
was
Sounds amazing, Joe.
Neve,
Neve?
the 16-year-old. The fact that she was 16.
Oh, her age and
Her age.
this romance that developed between a 16-year-old and a 24-year-old or whatever.
And a lot of people are saying, like, why not just make her 18 and then it wouldn't have been cringy? And I completely agree. There's
I don't
no
have a good
reason
answer for that
at all for her to not be.
Or even like, I'm sorry, but like if I know there's probably all this stuff about, well, he had to be the one, because she was there, she was a minor, and that was important in the end. They couldn't do anything. Well, then, okay, make her 17 and make him 18, which is an even bigger deal because, he just inherited this house. he's just a young dumb guy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and like just a lot of you keep bringing it up too, like they were saying. It's like she keep talking about like how young she looks, and
Yeah, I could fall in love with her. Like,
and
yeah,
then,
just like
and then they had sex, right? Like right before the massacre.
Maybe.
They did something,
yeah.
which is it's just, and she was also the manic pixie dream girl bit.
Trope.
That's
Yep.
definitely here, it's. Yeah, I agree with whoever brought that up and said it's tired, because it kind of is, and she was just this like, I'm different person for whatever.
Well, she was. What is it? She was a watcher.
Does that mean she's so? What does that mean?
Okay.
I know
She
what
was
it
one of
means,
the
but like
20.
I know, but like, does that mean anything beyond that?
No.
Like about
No.
her? Like
It's
she's
just a moment in time. Labeled her as this one thing this one time.
Is
I'm very
this like one of
scared
those
pitchforks now, though.
Is this like one of those anime things where like, oh no, she's actually 300?
No, it's not. So the author on Goodreads specifically says Neve is 16. This is true. It says so somewhere. Which is
No,
old
he could have
enough.
saved himself.
Yeah, which is
Sure.
old enough to know what she wants, and A is older and respectful. To say the truth, I never planned to linger much on their relationship. My editor insisted on having more scenes about that.
Oh, editor.
That monologue about the lack of piano music scenes in the X-Files was my own view on how the Supernatural Enhancements was supposed to be. Still, their relationship ended in the same way in the first draft. I just skipped the piano scenes in the middle, but I'm glad my editor insisted. I like the final piano scene.
I got this reference. I was really proud of myself.
I did not get that reference.
didn't either.
And I still don't.
Lolita. But yes, Adrian, stop it. You're not helping.
Ew.
Another thing about
He could have lied and said,
Neve
"Oh, she's 100."
is that she, I guess, I don't know. In my mind, she didn't protect him or whatever. I guess she did with the pool, but I don't know. And then there's Betty.
Well, and there's the whole structure of Neve and A and Betty and what the whole plan was.
What is that?
Kind of confusing.
Betty is some sort of
Just-
immortal being or long-living supernatural something or other. She got found by these people who spotted her through the ball over and over again, and she's like, I'm hiring you to figure out who is spying on me. So their whole thing about going to the house and all that stuff was to try to find who was spying on Betty, aka Aunt Liza, for some reason.
I
So she was
actually-
66
I had-
times or something.
Yeah.
I had a suspicion. I was like, look, we have two very mysterious women that we know nothing about. And also both Liza and Betty, those are both nicknames for Elizabeth. So I was like,
Yeah, okay, but then okay, so we just accept at the end that she's some demigod or god or whatever, and that this other more godlier thing is like saying, hey, look, and then like that's it. And she's like, who are these people that are spying on me? Find them. And then what was she gonna do? What were they gonna do?
I
Once they
mean, I
found
will
out?
say,
Stop.
I'm like,
Stop.
if we can believe that there is this magical crystal ball that like sees all these things and shows and once a year speaks and does all this, then I don't see why I can't also buy that there's a immortal lady. So like for me, the believability part was not the issue. For me, it was
Nice try, Jen.
it was the delivery. It was like how we got it, you know?
Yeah, it just kind of happened at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea that there are supernatural enhancements all over the world. Like I liked that some of the 20 are non-human or living people who can see ghosts or someone with power.
Skeleton.
Yeah,
playing cards.
Yeah. Like I don't know, that's so fascinating. I want more of that.
Well,
I mean, I think,
And the author he answered the question, what was Betty, with one of the world's supernatural enhancements, I guess.
Okay, I
I
guess.
guess.
Good,
I
cool.
guess.
Good,
Smi-
good
smiley
cop out,
face.
buddy.
There's a smiley face at the end.
Martin, I think we should take you up on that offer. Another take a shot, but we have to do it in a week, and everyone is inebriated.
I agree with Talia. It's not so much the things that make up the story. It's how it was delivered. It's how, like, you know, when you make the rules of your story and it seems like you kind of break the rules or you introduce new rules too late, is kind of what it feels like. It just seems like there's all the pieces are good. It just wasn't cohesive, or wasn't like,
Just fragmented
through the book.
styles.
Like, I very much get it, because that's a huge thing, right? Like in media, like books, movies, right? There's always going to be like an aha, like at the end. There's always got to be that twist. But usually you get it like right after the climactic point, and then you get some sort of resolution. Whereas this seemed more like it was just kind of like tacked on, and it was less of an aha and more of a what the hell is this kind of thing, where it's like, oh, by the way, I wasn't his cousin the whole time. And I was like,
and usually you can,
oh.
once you get the aha moment, hopefully you're just ahead of the audience enough to where they didn't predict it coming, but then they can go back and say,
and
I
find
should have
it.
seen
Yeah.
that coming.
If you
Like,
read
it's-
this entire book without that epilogue, you would never ever pick up on any of these things.
Yeah,
ever.
maybe we should read it again for
No,
November,
I'm-
and then
no, you're fired.
Yeah, no, I bet you would find stuff.
you probably would.
And A was always mysterious, and he was always so secretive with his
What does
name. and
A stand for?
We never found
That's
out.
a great
this.
question.
We
Asshat.
never just ask the same thing. I think it stands for Adam.
Probably.
Adam.
Yes. I don't know if it feels like we're crapping all over this book. I had a
know.
good time, but like, I just, we got to talk about these things that sort of irked us, because if we don't, then we won't sleep at night.
That's the point of the discussion, is to pick it apart. I do want to be clear. I've never read anything like this before. And I do think I would recommend it to someone based on if they were looking for something like very unique and different with some fun, creepy elements. So like, I did enjoy it. I just like, I'm also like confused by it. And also he killed the dog. So now I'll tell you, okay, because I told Christy this. If you don't do it now, actually, you don't have to do it ever. But if you go, so Christy told us at the last discussion 2 weeks ago, there's a website. Does the dog die?
DoesTheDogDie.com.
DoesTheDogDie.com, because we were all talking about the dog. And I was like, this dog better not die. And then she told me about the website. And I was like, well, sure, no one's going to have like, this book's not going to be on there. That's primarily for movies and stuff, probably, right? Nope. So if you go to the live stream from 2 weeks ago and you watch whatever point of the discussion that was where we're talking about it, and then you see I pull up my phone, and while we're all talking about the books, I look it up on the website, and then I went, and then I just sat here like this for 5 minutes and was like, no one can know what I was doing, and no one can know what my face is doing, and I'm just going to sit here like this for a while until we change the subject.
I think,
because if you put in the book title on the website, it immediately just comes up and says, yes, in all caps.
I think after the dog got shot, I was just waiting for them to reverse that somehow. I was just like reading on to see, like, when does help come back? When does help come back? If A can survive bleeding himself out.
The delivery of the news was also done in a very inconsiderate.
Yeah, you had a guy be like, oh, I got dog brains on my pants. I was like, what has happened? This was like also, it just felt like a huge, just a tonal shift in the end, like when the
massacre
with the
started?
massacre.
Yeah, the stakes got very high because I was like, oh, everyone died. This sucks.
These people came out of nowhere, right? Like these Glue obviously was a character, and we knew about Glue, but he didn't ever really register with me as like anything.
So was Scarface. They were the ones that like cleared the snow or whatever, but it was so subtle. I feel like there was no foreshadowing for that at all.
There's a tiny bit of foreshadowing in that moment, because I remember thinking when that guy came in to wash his hands and he was being all weird and smirky, and I was like, there's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah, I don't even remember that. But
I do. It was creepy. Who comes in? The snowblower. He comes in and he's like, "Where can I wash?"
oh yeah, I remember that.
Maybe it's because I'm like, I don't like it when people come in my house. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, it was just a weird like major tonal shift. You know, it was like the opposite version of the end of like Blazing Saddles when all of a sudden they're like fighting on different sets. Like they go from their little Western movie and now they're in like a musical and they're still fighting. Like it was like the weird version of that, like the bad version. It just didn't feel like the same book at that point. And like and it wasn't the kind of sort of climax that I was expecting or hoping for. Like I didn't expect people just to come in and like murder everybody. Like we finally got to meet this whole secret society and they're having this, you know, the dinner party, and then all of a sudden they just get massacred by this like, wait, what? Who are these people? Where they come from? Glue? Who's Glue again?
Yeah, like
Lawyer.
that's the yeah. I was,
Yeah, I had to ask. I was like, who is Glue? And Christy was like the lawyer, and I was like, oh yeah.
And luckily, A guessed it. He's like, "Well, the German scientist, put you up to this, didn't he?"
Was it though? Do we know? We didn't get that answer either.
His reaction
His
made
reaction
me
seemed
think
to
it
suggest
was
that it was.
yes.
I don't know anything.
boo, Dan.
But Glue got away too, right? The Glue
With the
Yeah.
eye.
Glue got the eye and left.
Yep.
So mission accomplished.
Unless the Jaggernaut decides to go after him, she gonna squash him with her foot.
It wasn't
Puma.
even A and Neve's mission to get the eye. I think it was just to like figure out how she was being spied on. So like their mission was kind of accomplished too, I think. Or at least that's the impression I got.
And what do they do with that information though? Still,
Just give it to her.
just be like, here you go, Aunt Liza, who's not really my aunt, and Neve, who is this. So Aunt Liza found Neve?
I
The
think
same
it-
way that she knew that she was being watched.
I think
Which
Aunt Liza
is?
sent Neve, but Neve
Brain
chose
power.
A for some reason.
How? Why?
It was not clear.
Who is A?
Not clear.
I'll say he was pretty smart because I will say I was trying to put all these puzzle pieces together and I would have given up very quickly. And honestly, actually, probably the moment I found out the house was haunted, I would have been like, cool, put that thing up on Zillow. We're out of here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not interested and also not about to go on a treasure hunt in a haunted house.
Yeah.
No, I would have cashed that sucker out.
Yeah. I was actually really happy to hear that Neve and A were like on a special mission to figure out what's going on. Because the whole time I was so impressed with these two people. Like they were spending so much time and energy looking into this thing that like sure was kind of cool, but was really hard to find out. Like I would have given up immediately.
Natalie, some songs just do it for you. But yeah, like just and how did okay, so if A wasn't actually related to Ambrose,
Mhm.
how was he like in the will?
It was a plan with
Yeah.
Wells.
Ambrose was looking for a relative to pass on his legacy or whatever, and they found out about that and then kind of inserted A
They
into that.
they undercovered it.
Yeah, because he was in on
Yeah.
it. Like he wanted it. It was part of the plan that him and Liza came up with, Liza Betty, about like she was like, I want the answers, and he was like, I want someone to have them. Okay, come on in.
Yeah, that whole all the association there feels way too loosey goosey. I mean, I know, like, look, it's all far fetched, and right, if we can believe some of it, why can't we believe that all
I
this?
don't
just-
know. I feel like I'm being watched
together.
right now.
Well, like look, like
oh, I am. That's
uh,
stupid.
I
I meant like from here though, not here. That's so stupid.
I know that I'm all for like
Talia broke herself.
I'm sorry.
We are watching.
Okay.
I'm all for going along for the ride. Like I can like get down with some inconsistencies, or like let's gloss over this or whatever. I think this kind of piled it on though too much for me, where it became too much to ignore after a while, and then you get to the end and you're just like, what? I finished it and I came back in and I was just like,
crab. Don't ask me why. I think that's an exact quote from the book.
To go back to to go back to Kira's comment. Why would you choose? I just don't even like. Why would you choose this name for a book? Like
Supernatural Enhancements? Oh,
no, Neve. Like,
because she was Irish.
I know, but like, make it an Irish name that everyone can just.
It is an Irish name.
That you don't have to. There's no way you can derive Neve out of that without knowing the Gaelic.
Do you know how to spell Saoirse or Siobhan?
No, but that's what
Irish
I'm saying.
Names.
Just
I know how to spell Neve now.
I think that's just part of the character. I don't know.
I guess so. I don't know. It annoyed me.
And they explained it. They used leaving.
I know. That
didn't bug me, but I've also seen I saw a really fun interview with Saoirse one time where she talked about, and she read, they scrolled up like lots of popular Irish names up on the screen and she pronounced them all. And it's just not ever the way that you would expect.
I did like the moment where she was like in the police station and they were like, Nev.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you pronounce it? Nev.
Well, that's what I went to school with a girl named Siobhan, and she went by her middle name because everyone would look at her name and be like, Sayaban? And she was like, no, just call me Nikki. And we're like, sorry.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was cool. It was really unique.
One of the things that I did, again, I appreciate about this book was its sort of unique and like diverse writing styles, and like how we can get a lot of different sort of believable excerpts from different things, except for the handheld video camera, which bothered me because I just wanted to know what was happening. Like the whole time Neve was it Neve when they were like going through the house to try to find the noise, like it was so like embellished that I was like, what is that? What is happening? What are they doing? The chucks, I guess those are Neve's feet. And it's just like, just tell me what's happening, please.
Talking about the writing style a little bit. Well, this is just part of the author. He actually wrote this in English, which is his second language. And this is the first book he wrote in English. I don't know. So a lot of people were saying, oh, sorry, Kristen. A lot of people were saying that this is his first book. And I don't know if it is or not, but I know it is his first book that he wrote in English first.
Oh, do we want to tell everybody what the thing at the beginning said?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did anybody crack the code? First of
No,
all, did anybody?
I didn't even
I didn't
try.
try.
Are you
I did
kidding?
not even try. No.
So
That's
the
homework.
key word is acknowledgements.
Oh,
that makes sense.
That's
the
so
acknowledgements.
smart.
Yep. So it says, this is a answer on a question on Goodreads, and this answer did not come from the author, so there is a chance that this is completely wrong, but I'm going to assume it's not. The keyword is acknowledgements. The full translation is, everything that inspired this book hides within it. Ambrose, Belknap, and Axton took their names from Bierce, Frank Long, and Clark Ashton Smith. Society members were named after Scooby-Doo villains. Struckner is Carol Strucken. Jason Bourne was the warrior. Tattoo, the band, were the teen lovers. John, Leek, and much more came from Mary Pellington's Mothman prophecies. Mark Pellington's Mothman prophecies. Thank you. Axton House was modeled after Frederick Raynal's Alone in the Dark. I stole from many others. I apologize if I was not explicit enough.
That is long. But also, if it's true, I love an Easter egg.
Yeah, that was. So is Alone in the Dark also a book, because it was a big video game? Well, it's a video game, and I don't know if there's actually a book, but it was one of the earliest survival horror video games.
I remember.
You had different
Scared me.
camera angles. Super scary for the time, and like it was 3D characters.
Poorly modeled.
But at the time, it was groundbreaking, so it makes sense. Like he's making Monkey Island references, and so he's obviously.
Kira, I will say this because it's true. It's a cool way to write the acknowledgments. Yes. However, not cool for the people who are being acknowledged who don't ever crack that code and never know that they were a part of the book. So,
And I know
You
he's
know.
really into Scooby-Doo too, because his other book, Meddling Kids, is basically if the Scooby-Doo gang.
Yeah, he's a big
grew
Scoob
up.
fan.
Okay.
we have a
Big
big Scoob fan in our neighborhood. There's a house like
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple streets
Right, right.
up.
Got a mystery machine.
And they're like, yeah, they collect cars and stuff. And one of the things that he has like a huge garage, and so he keeps it covered now. But we used to see it all the time. We'd pass by. Is he has a mystery machine van, like an exact shiny, beautiful duplicate.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, wow.
Yeah. That was really good. Wait, Adam can do the laugh.
Yeah, not that good.
No, Adam, you do the laugh.
No,
Play,
Oh,
no.
come on.
we got more things to talk about.
No, now it's too late.
We have 13 minutes. We
I'll
have
do it
time
when
for
you
the
least
laugh.
expect it. Lucas and I will harmonize
like
it at the end.
It's like a jump scare Scooby laugh. Look, the people want it. The people want it, Adam. Give the people what they
No,
want.
you got to leave them wanting, you know.
No, that is not our job. That is 100% not our job. Our job is to deliver. That is the purpose of the book club.
Yeah, thank you, Deidre.
Yeah, it's one of his big flaws, Deidre.
So Neve was one of those meddling kids.
Yeah.
Would have gotten away with it too. I guess they did get away with it.
They did. They totally did. They just escaped right back to the UK immediately. Willa, that's a great question.
Scooby snack. What is a Scooby snack? Is it just a dog treat?
I think so.
Yeah.
You can get
Is it a
little
Turkish
Scooby snacks at the grocery store though. They usually have cinnamon on them though. And they do kind of look like dog biscuits, which is a little bit of a deterrent for me.
Yeah, it's like a golden Teddy Graham kind of thing.
That's true, Adrian. What a great point. I did sing the song even when I had COVID.
Listen, y'all are building this up so much that when I finally do it, you're gonna be like, that kind of stuff.
That's why you should just immediately.
I know.
Yeah, now
This
it's
is
not
kind
gonna
of
live
your
up to
fault.
expectations. I'm gonna do it. They're gonna be like, that kind of sounded like it. Not worth it. Okay,
Mini
what else do
corn
we?
dogs.
Because I still want to talk about the book.
What do you want to talk about?
Sorry.
Somebody explain it to me.
Do you want the ghost story, the mystery, or the action part?
So
Which book do you want?
the ghost story? So the ghost story. It's just a haunted house.
Yep.
So somebody mentioned in the book that it was in the book that the ghost isn't. Did they say it in this book that like the ghost isn't necessarily like a thing that like is more of like a like an after image of?
No,
Did that happen in this book?
That wasn't this book.
Huh?
It wasn't.
That was something else.
What was it?
What was that? I think I told you that about a book that I was reading.
Oh,
I was reading another book about ghosts, and that was part of it. That it's not like
Let's
the
talk about the
soul,
book.
It's just like a snapshot of like a moment for a person.
never mind.
I had a lot of ghosts this month.
You're
for some
confusing
reason.
me.
I know. I'm sorry.
There's more stuff in here. It's young. There's young.
The people are saying there's not enough ghost.
I agree. I really, really wish we could have gone through, like, followed some of the 20 on their missions because that's just so interesting to
Oh.
me.
That would have been a great
And
miniseries.
the author did say that he has ideas for sequels, but him and his editors think that he shouldn't be focusing on sequels. right now, but I really would love a sequel to this one.
Yeah, now that you're a little bit more seasoned, Edgar, I know you're watching.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Cantero.
That
Hi,
felt
by the way.
sarcastic and disrespectful.
No, I wanted to be formal and respectful. And now, because you said that, everybody's going to think that I was being sarcastic and disrespectful, even though I wasn't.
Willa says I was hoping for more creepiness, and I thought the first half of this book did
Yes.
so good
Mhm.
bringing the creep, and
Oh,
I
for
was
sure.
into it. And then it did become more of a treasure hunt mystery.
Yeah, I
Yes.
thought it was like the
Thing.
second half was like a mystery thriller, which
Yeah.
honestly I didn't mind.
No, I
it
liked
was
the
less
mystery
scary. I
part.
liked being less scared.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I just, it's the format of the book definitely lends itself more to being creepy.
Mhm.
And like, when you're going, like, it's basically the book version of the Blair Witch Project, which scared me when I watched it back in 1999 or whatever the hell that was in the movie theater, when I thought, everybody was just like, I've never seen anything like this before. And I was, it came with it because of my preconceived ideas about this format. Like, it came with it with a certain like feeling and a certain tone, and I was like, ooh, I like this. And then it kind of was just there, and then it changed direction, and like, I don't know, I wanted it to be more creepy too. And I never say that about things. I never say that I want this to be more creepy. I never want anything to be more creepy.
I did not want it to be more creepy. So I got my wish.
Yeah, thanks.
It's all for
Yeah.
you.
You're
It's all
welcome.
for you.
I'll write him a thank you note.
Yeah.
He'll be like, were you trying to scare people? You didn't succeed. I appreciate it very much. He's going to be like, what a shitty note. Thanks.
What? Agree. Someone should have mentioned the author.
I liked the crystal ball aspect, Emily. Like, I thought it was cool, and I thought all these people were gonna come into this societal meeting, and we were gonna have this epic scene, and like maybe the ghost was gonna come back, and I don't know how I thought it was gonna resolve, but no, like, to go in the cellar and find this room of all these crystal balls, and I thought it was really interesting, and seeing the dig sites where like they had put the balls in the pillars, and it was like the voice of Allah, and like that was cool. Like that felt like a groovy mystery.
I liked it
adventure.
too, and I think it would have been cool if, like Christy said, the book would have just been about, like, it could have still taken the direction it went, but if it was just about like one of the society members, like, and we just knew that this was a thing from, you just established these are the rules of the world. These are these balls. They do these things, and then like this is like you set that up a whole lot earlier, and then we have time to let it like sink in, and then you could do a whole lot more with it. And then we see somebody trying to find, this vision. That would have been cool. Like, because I was thinking the whole time, like, how do they even go about it? Like, if all you see is someone in their kitchen,
That's why they study. That's why they're scholars of geography. Like, that's why they do all this research. When you're rich and you have nothing else to do, good for you. Like, that's why they were like, oh, did you see the building back there? Like, this is their life. This is the adventure that they seek. I will say one thing that I really did like is I liked how the dreams were happening. That he found this secret room, and that one ball had fallen off and was touching that one pipe, which was a conduit to the bed. And that is what resulted in, unfortunately, in Ambrose like losing his mind, because he was being fed those visions over and over and over again as they sleep. But I really enjoyed like figuring out how that had happened. Like right away when they pull the bed out and you see, oh, there's like a tube here, and like getting to chase that little mystery part of it. I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, or like when. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so this has been happening for at least 2 generations of Welleses. They know what they're doing, right? They know that these balls exist, and they know that this whole thing exists. Why would they not like figure that out?
Because they were saying the suicide rate was already in existence even without that being a thing.
But if he's saying like, man, I keep seeing the stuff that we saw in this thing over and over again.
But since he's seeing the same stuff that he already saw, he thought that he was just getting worse.
Just obsessing with it. Just
It's not like he was
Yeah.
seeing new
Because
things.
he said that they all dreamed it. They would they would do the 60 minutes or whatever so that they'd stop in the REM so that they could like remember the less exciting ones.
They were all
And-
obsessed, and he just thought this was his devolvement.
Yeah. And he also thought his family was cursed because his dad died around the same time in the same way. And going back to the crystal balls, I love the science behind the crystal balls. I think we got that exposition at the first half of the book, but I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, it ended up being the downfall because they, hired that German scientist who turned out to
make the ball storage,
murder
the thought
everybody.
storage devices.
Which also,
Whoops.
what is in there? Remember, they said it's organic.
It's brain.
But,
They did
like-
say it was organic. I don't know.
It's brain.
It's mushrooms. It's
brain
mushrooms.
balls.
It's mushrooms.
Yeah, Kristen has a good point. They gave up their lives, no wives, no kids. And also, like he was talking about, the one guy looked so much older than he actually was. And it was because this game was taking a toll on him.
Still, would have been cool to
Also,
get that.
he had
And-
just experienced like 8 months of genocidal trepid often.
This would have been cool to, like the mystery cool, but like, if we didn't have the like, let's find out who's spying on this immortal being and just focused on like the society, I think it would have been a fun story.
It
Yeah,
really
I like
would've.
the society.
And we would have got a whole lot more supernatural enhancements.
Yeah, the book title.
This is
Hey.
true. Are the level of inside jokes that we are developing are their own
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you who don't
secret
know,
code?
the crab thing is from a book that people really didn't like.
It was
Called
from
The Hike.
several books. Well, was
Yeah.
The Hike or the
Hike
Prey
was-
of
Hike is-
Gods first?
But the Prey of
The
Gods
Hike-
was first.
But the hike really sent it
Really
over the
clinched
top.
it.
But they were like back to back, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And
yeah.
the fact that we had two bizarre crab books back to back just really
Yeah. One book, a crab has sex
Solidified
with
the
a
crab.
dolphin, and then in another book,
Oh yeah.
He turns into a crab for,
Oh,
like,
yeah, that was really weird.
But wasn't the crab? Wait, was the crab dolphin one also the dictic one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which,
that
by
was
the
just a
way,
wild book.
be clear, if you're confused by that because you weren't here for that book and you decide to Google it, there is no
Turd.
C in that word. Before you Google anything, it is just DIK. And if you're seeing anything other than an adorable tiny little deer with a pointy nose, you spelled it wrong and you need to wipe your
Yeah.
computer.
Go clear your history.
Yep.
That's Drew McGarry. He wrote
Turd.
He wrote The Hike.
yeah,
He
and
wrote
juiced.
The Hike. So anyway, we are like 1 minute away from the hour. This has been a very spirited discussion. I'm glad we had this together. Would you read the next one?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, easily.
I probably
I
would.
love this
Yep.
book.
Because I think here's where I think the next one would go.
I liked it.
You get out. I didn't mind the hike. There was some weird stuff.
I actually
The end, though, made me so mad.
the-
Okay.
So I think the second this could be a case of like an Empire Strikes Back, where the sequel may be better than the
Okay, yeah.
the
Oh, God, I would
starter.
hope
or
so.
the prequel.
or the right. So my thing is like I think they set up the house and the ghost and everything. If you take that completely out and now you're just living in tracking down the person that stole the balls and the other 20 people, like it could be cool.
That being said, yeah, it seems like I crapped on the book a whole lot, but if he wrote another one in this universe, I would read it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'd read more in this universe. Like, yeah, we talked a lot of crap about it, but it was fun.
But I want it to be like a
Except for the
cryptic
dog thing.
mystery adventure where they're finding new things, and like that's what I want.
I
Like,
bet it'd be the opposite of
Yeah.
dogs dying in that next book, though. Look at it, you,
A lot
Edgar.
of
Mr.
dogs getting
Cantero.
born.
Yeah, I'm talking just happy puppies out the
Litters of
wazoo.
puppies. Yeah. But yeah, I think this is Search for Glue. Glue.
Gru is the
Supernatural.
one from Minions.
All right. Well, in November, we can read The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin.
Our
That will-
second book of hers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We read 100,000 Kingdoms.
I feel like this one might be less strange.
Less strange than the 100,000 Kingdoms.
Maybe, but don't
This is
quote
the
me.
midway. Don't read the words. Don't.
Um,
But this is the midway point. It's chapter 9.
so we've got another N.K. Jemisin book. Dan says, I hope this one has less god and demon sex. I hope it has more.
I mean, that's a high bar, actually.
Look, I will say this. If you look on the back of the book, the top quote is from Neil Gaiman. So already,
Good solid
this is
reference.
a big
there.
deal. And he says it's a glorious fantasy set in that most imaginary of cities, New York. It's inclusive in all the best ways and manages to contain both Borges, something, and Lovecraft in its fabric, but the unique voice and viewpoint are Jemison's alone. That's an author that I'm obviously unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I don't know how that.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
that-
for Neil Gaiman, it's also on the front. Neil Gaiman, right there.
It's not on.
Glorious.
Oh yeah,
above
glorious.
The title.
Glorious, says Neil Gaiman. So if Neil likes it, this is a guy who wrote Neverwhere.
Hey, careful. I liked
Uh.
Neverwhere, and also don't y'all say anything rude about Neil Gaiman.
We love
He is
Neil.
a precious, precious treasure.
I'm waiting to find my Neil Gaiman book.
We shall find it.
Where'd you put it?
I'm just saying, like the one that resonates with me.
Well, to be
No.
fair, you've only read 1.5.
Still
Everybody
fun.
likes
Still
American
searching.
Gods. That's
American Gods is so
that's the big one.
good. I think it's too long for this book club, but it's
So,
really good.
right
Lucas
there on
is
the
looking
shelf.
for Neil Gaiman recommendations. We have a cool place where you can do that, either on Facebook or in our new forum.
That's right,
which is coming
and
soon.
Which is not open.
It's not. So the forum is open for those that signed up. And I will say this: like we've only been in it since Friday night, and it's going really well. Like it's a lot of fun, and honestly, I can't wait to open up the forum to the club at large. Which we don't have a set date. We have a 30-day trial of this platform, and we're going to kind of use that up. So
that being said, if you did miss your chance to sign up as a beta tester, it is okay. Just
Don't
wait.
worry. We're
working out all the bugs. That just means it's going to be already full of amazing things for you to dig through once it's open to everybody.
Yeah. So, and that's where we want to get. Like, great. If you're in the forum as a beta tester, go continue this conversation in the thread. There's a whole achievement system, and you can earn badges. Anyway, it's great, and we'll tease it a little bit more in November. But really excited about what that's going to offer us in terms of long-term conversations.
Yeah, we're
Good
just
luck reading, Lisa.
playing around with new ways for
Lisa.
y'all to have a community and interact with each other. So we're always trying to evolve Literarily Wasted, and we want y'all to be a big part of that. So bear with us. We're gonna try. We'll be trying. Some new
Yes,
stuff,
Martin,
so.
you can earn badges. You can earn a crab badge, and there is a crab forum for crab.
We'll get
book
to it.
club.
We'll get
so
to it.
anyway, we're gonna have fun with it, y'all.
So anyway, that does it for us for today. We will be seeing you next month in November
16th.
16th, where we will discuss the first half of the book that is up to chapter 9. No spoilers past that point.
No spoilers. All right.
And if you're
that
in the
does it.
forum,
Maybe
I will say this,
Adam.
if you're in the forum, make sure you use that spoiler button if you're talking in the city we became. So go start talking about it. There's a little spoiler icon, and use it.
All right, I'll do the laugh.
You monster.
If it helps, he didn't actually make sound on my side either.
There it is. Lucas, let's do it together.
Wait, I thought you were gonna Scooby laugh.